Welcome to today's explainer. We are jumping right into the exact, actionable blueprint behind predictable wealth accumulation. If you've ever found yourself wondering how the truly wealthy actually get there, well, you're in the right place. We're going to look at a sequence that takes building wealth from a total mystery to a highly predictable science.
So let's just get the elephant in the room out of the way first. Is building wealth just luck? Because honestly, most people kind of assume the ultra-wealthy just caught some incredible once-in-a-lifetime break, right? They think it all boils down to picking one lucky lottery ticket investment, landing some wildly high-paying job, or just happening to launch a business at the exact right second. We tend to view extreme wealth almost exclusively as an accident.
Well, let's dive into this, because after analyzing literally hundreds of wealth stories, I'm talking everyone from self-made mechanics to massive tech founders, something really wild stood out. The specific day-to-day details of their lives, totally different. But the chronological order of how they actually built their wealth, exactly the same. The myth is that accidental riches story. The reality is that almost everyone who builds serious, lasting wealth follows a highly predictable step-by-step sequence.
And here is that exact blueprint. The 5 steps are control spending, build a safety buffer, buy assets, create cash flow, and ownership. Now, stick with me and pay close attention throughout this explainer, because I've noticed over and over again that most people completely skip step 3. And honestly, missing that one single step is exactly why so many folks stay broke. We'll unpack that trap in just a second. Here's a super quick rundown of our agenda so you know exactly how we're guiding you up this ladder today. We'll hit the wealth luck myth, fixing your financial foundation, the major turning point, building the wealth machine, and finally, the predictable path. We are going straight from a leaky bucket all the way to owning the factory.
Section 1. The wealth luck myth. Because getting rich is definitely not random.
Section 2. Fixing your financial foundation. It's time to plug those leaks.
All right, before you can go on the offensive and make massive financial gains, you absolutely have to stop money from just leaking out of your life. That is step 1. Controlling your spending. Now listen, I am not talking about obsessive penny-pinching budgeting here, and I am definitely not saying you need to be miserably cheap. What it is, simply, is following the fundamental rule of spending less than you earn. Think of your personal finances like a bucket. If you've got holes in the bottom, it literally doesn't matter how much water you pour in at the top, right? It's all just going to drain right out onto the floor. And here is the absolute harsh truth. Without plugging those leaks, the whole shebang fails. Without this foundational baseline of just spending less than you make, every single step we are about to discuss will completely collapse. You simply cannot outinvest a fundamentally broken financial bucket. So once those holes are finally patched, you naturally move right into step 2, building a safety buffer. This is your emergency fund, your reliable cash reserve, and essentially, it's your financial breathing room. Picture this buffer as a giant heavy-duty shield protecting you from life's random curveballs. You know, a blown transmission, a surprise medical bill, or an unexpected gap in employment. The core reason this step is so absolutely vital is that you cannot safely invest if every little surprise becomes a full-blown crisis. Building real wealth takes long-term stability. If you are constantly panicking over unexpected bills, you're inevitably going to end up panic selling your investments at the worst possible time just to scrape by. That giant shield, it gives you the actual peace of mind you need to grow.
Section 3. The major turning point. This is the crucial step.
Okay, this is where things start getting really fun. And it's where we hit that trap I teased earlier. With your shield firmly strapped on, you hit step 3, buying assets. So the crucial point is, this right here is the major turning point in the whole sequence. It is the exact step most people completely skip right over, which keeps them broke. This is the stage where your cash actually transforms into valuable things. Stocks, real estate, businesses. You're shifting from just hoarding cash to holding productive assets.
But man, I gotta warn you, there is a massive trap waiting right here. Most people never stay in this phase long enough. They get impatient, they buy a few assets, and expect to be rolling in millions by next Tuesday. But the reality is, you have to give your assets time to actually grow and do their job. It's like planting a seed. You can't keep digging it up every single morning to check if it grew roots. You have to stay incredibly disciplined and just patiently accumulate.
Section 4. Building the wealth machine. Time to create some serious cash flow.
Now we are fully playing offense. Welcome to step 4, creating cash flow. If you manage to stay disciplined back in step 3, those accumulated assets finally start producing real, tangible income for you. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate goal,
building a massive pipeline where money just continuously flows directly toward you. You've hit the point where your money is doing the heavy lifting. It's working incredibly hard for you while you're at the gym, while you're on vacation, even while you are fast asleep. Your assets are literally producing their own capital.
Section 5. The predictable path. We have reached the highest level of wealth. We have officially arrived at the top tier. Step 5. Ownership. Just think about the massive contrast here. On one side, you have working inside the factory, trading your physical labor for a paycheck week in and week out. On the other side, you have owning the factory, holding equity, owning entire businesses, and commanding large asset portfolios. The truly wealthy do not just trade their time for money forever. Eventually, they transition completely from labor to ownership. That is the absolute pinnacle of predictable wealth.
As we tie this all together, I want to circle right back to our very first question today. Wealth is almost never built through one single incredibly lucky decision. It's just not an accident or pure chance. It is the direct result of a highly disciplined sequence. Relying on luck, that is a losing strategy. Relying on the sequence, that's exactly how you win.
But here is a really critical warning you need to remember. If you try to skip a step, the whole system breaks. Seriously, you absolutely cannot jump to buying assets if you don't have a safety buffer in place. You cannot create reliable cash flow if your spending bucket is constantly leaking all over the floor. This predictable path only works, and I mean only works, if you stay the course and deeply respect the strict chronological order of this blueprint.
So, I want to leave you with a question to reflect on your own financial journey right now. Which of the 5 steps are you currently working on? Are you plugging leaks, building a shield, buying assets, creating that pipeline, or taking ownership? If you found this explainer valuable and want to keep learning exactly how to make your money work for you, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and drop a comment down below letting us know which step you are on today. Keep following the sequence, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.